some stuff I'll say on live, and then some stuff I'll say off live. Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with a podcast number 277 with Bleeves Crypto, with technical analysis on a bunch of stuff. Bull market versus bear market, what's going on with the rest of the world, how it affects crypto. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. How you doing?
What's going on, man?
I just got off the phone with Tom. All good things, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get off. But for the most part, it's I'm very confident. I'm very confident in everyone's abilities here. Shout out to everyone
on February, the week of February 2nd, by the way, to talk about Fias.
What's the week of February 2nd?
I'm going to have Tom on to talk about Fias.
Okay. On Fias Bleeves show. Okay. What time is that?
I don't think we nailed a time yet. The week of February 2nd, because he's traveling right now.
Yeah.
The end of the month. So whatever time frame, sometime during that week, like I'll nail it down the next couple days. I wasn't really worried about it until we get closer to it.
Yeah. I just got to finish off this one thing. What about you? Okay. Yeah, shout out to everyone. The first one here. Streak continues. Ben in Korea, thanks for being a member. Says, good, I might. Honda game bought DEVVE at the bottom. Congrats.
You don't know that.
That's true. So we have this one of those I think I might have asked you about it last time you were on, is that, you know, two schools of thought. One school of thought is that Clarity Act passes, Jerome Powell gets out. We kind of stay down here until that happens, and when that happens, we just go crazy. And that, you know, figure May when he leaves, so June. There's another school of thought where people are just like, yeah, Bitcoin to 40K and ETH down to 1,500 or less, and then we stay down there for 3 or 4 months, and then we have this beautiful K-shaped recovery second half of the year.
Yeah,
I don't know which one. Which side are you on?
I would be on the side right now. I would be on the side of anybody calling for a $40,000 Bitcoin is a fucking moron.
Why?
So let's go back. What was the top of the last bull run?
126? Or you mean like
69,000?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
What was the one before that?
17?
Exactly. And then where did Bitcoin dip after the
3K after 17, and then like 13K after 69?
It was 16,000. Right.
Okay.
It was right at 17,000.
So about 75% off, right?
So right. So, and it was an immature asset at that time. And I'm not saying that it's completely matured, but anybody who's calling for $40,000 Bitcoin is not paying attention to. So the 4-year cycle bros are in this weird space right now where they're just determined that this market is over with and it's done. And they're the ones that are leading the charge right now to tell you that the market is over. But they're not accumulating. And they've deleveraged themselves from their positions. And guess what? Bitcoin's still trading at $90,000. Just stop for a second and let that part sink in. Now, there is downside momentum, and there could be something that could happen that would create downside momentum. However, what we did not have before that we do have now is we have institutions holding the game up. Okay. We have them propping up everything that we did not have before. So before we say that Bitcoin's now going to drop 85% down to these crazy levels that we haven't seen, you better drop a nuclear bomb in New York City if you want to see something like that. Short of that, there's absolutely no way that it's going to go down that low. The place that it's going to go down, if it does in fact go down, 70,000, maybe 65,000, because that is the top of the previous market. And just think about the random, crazy black swan events that we've had along the way that have taken us down or took us down to 16,000 the last time. It took catastrophic circumstances. It took the failure of the largest exchange. It took the failure of the highest crypto, not named Bitcoin at the time. I mean, remember, there was a conglomeration of multiple effects. There was the collapse of FTX. There was the collapse of Terra Luna. It took
That's
all
true.
of that to get Bitcoin back down to the peak of the previous market. So the
That's a
peak of
good
this
point.
previous market is 69,000. So that's where we're going to go if we're going to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good, okay. There was if you look at the 1 minute candles, I think it was 2 days ago, Bitcoin dumped about $1,500 in 1 minute,
Yeah.
wiping out about $300 million in longs.
Yeah.
And then today, when it went up a little bit, it wiped out $150 million in shorts. Like, they do it both ways. And I guess it doesn't matter what point Bitcoin's at, what price, they could do that all day, every day. They'll make their money.
The CME futures gap was at 89,000 yesterday, and it got filled.
Yeah.
Now the only gap remaining is 93,000. The only gap that we're going to get to is 93,000. So expect to see an explosive move from Bitcoin to 93,000, which would be up $4,000. Yeah, about $4,000. Be up about $4,000 pretty soon.
So when we go and do, so again, obviously, clearly there's manipulation there, just to fill that. What makes you think that there wouldn't be manipulation going that far? Because, and you've talked about this before on the Bloody October Day, I think it was October 10th or 16th or something like that. And that clearly a lot of stuff happened where there was manipulation there. And why couldn't or wouldn't they do that again?
So what are they going to do it with?
I mean, how they happened last time, they couldn't do it again this time?
Consider the bad actors. Okay. Consider the bad actors. Wintermute is a bad actor. Jane Street is a bad actor, but they're also market makers. They're not really bad actors. They're working towards profit. They're trying to make money. Yeah. Everybody's trying to make money. Okay. You make money by it going up. You make money by it going down. You just have to pick the right direction and hold on to whatever the principle is. Now, the principle could be that you think that we're in the bear market and that it's going down. But if it were that obvious, wouldn't everybody get rich?
Not ever. I mean, you still need the ability.
Most people will get rich, though. I mean, most people get rich, though, right?
Yeah.
When we think that when we think that it's about to go crazy and that the bull market is coming, that means everybody's going to get rich, right?
Yeah.
But alarmingly, very few people get rich. Why is that? Because the market doesn't do what it's set up to do. Like I saw yesterday. I saw somebody who put out a chart on Bitcoin and they said, oh shit, here it goes. It's happening right now. And we're seeing like this absolute capitulation. As a matter of fact, let me pull it up. I'll show it to you because then you'll see it and you will actually see exactly what he's talking about when it happens. Okay. So what he said was, look at this, look at this, look at this, and then look what happened. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, look at this. Look at this.
Okay.
Look at this.
So now they think we're going down.
And now look what happened. Okay. So that's his premise. That was his entire premise. And I said, you know what? Actually, it kind of looks structurally like the same thing if I'm not a fucking retard. Like if I'm not an idiot.
So how do you invalidate his premise?
Looks that way to me. But watch this. Okay. Let's actually take the structure for what it is and say that we've got a double top right here, right?
Okay.
We've got a little spike here of fresh activity, right? We've got a little spike right here. Didn't go as high, but we've got all these spikes, right? Well, there's a spike. There's a spike. There's a middle spike. There's a top spike. There's that consolidation that looks just like this consolidation right here too. And guess what happened? We ended up going to a new all-time high. Structurally, I understood what he was saying, but he just has it all wrong.
Yeah.
He just has it all wrong. And the reason that I say that he has it all wrong is not because I don't want him to be wrong or right. I don't care. What I think is going on right now is that because we're maturing as an asset, the old guard, and by the way, there is a caveat to this when I get done, but the old guard, they're in the 4-year cycle. They sold. Yeah. They made their money. Now they're looking for a re-entry position. Most of them are going to re-enter right around the spot right there. The smart money is going to reaccumulate right here in this range. I mean, that is the range right there that we're looking at for if we have capitulation, then there to around.
So that's 69,000. Okay. Yeah.
Right to the top of that wedge right there, around 65, 67,000, somewhere in that 70,000 range. That's the top of the previous market. So that's where the bounce is going to be, the top of the previous market over here. I mean, like, it played out perfectly. Here it is right here. This was the top of the previous market right there.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing happened. Like, that's where we're going to go. Now, the issues are when Wintermute sold off on October 10, what they did is they won crypto. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. They won crypto. They pulled out hundreds of millions of dollars in a very rapid pace, okay? Which caused a spark of other people doing the same thing, saying, oh God, I got to get out of here. I'm going to be screwed. You know, like there was a capitulation. And that left a bad taste in people's mouths, but it's not our mouths that mattered. It's Jane Street. That's why Jane Street is constantly selling every day at 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. That's when the market opens for Jane Street. Okay. What are they doing? They're selling as much Bitcoin as they can every single day into a dip. They're creating a dip and they're buying more. Then they're making a profit and they're pulling the money back out the very next day. And they do that all the time. They're doing it all the time with multiple different baskets of assets. And the reason that they're doing that is because Wintermute did the unspeakable. Okay. And what they did was they sent a message to Donald Trump. Now, if you remember, Wintermute is based in London. However, Wintermute originally was a Chinese entity. Chinese entities, remember on October 9, Donald Trump was saying, F you, China.
Yeah.
On October 10, Wintermute said, F you, Trump. They sent a message that China sent a message that you are not in charge, Donald Trump. We're still in charge of everything. And that created a weird sort of feeling for people. People are now nervous about where the markets are going to go because it reminded everybody how out of control we are and how totally in control all of the big money is. And we don't see that every day. Like we look at price go up and we're holding on. And by the way, most of us are moonbaggers. We're people who are long-term hodlers. We're the people who are getting destroyed at this moment. The people who are winning are the scalpers and the PvPers who are fighting each other for every damn dime that they can get out of everybody. That's really what's going on right now. Like, I think there was one that just launched and I had somebody reach out to me. It's Seeker. It was called Seeker. There's a brand new launch, came out I think yesterday or the day before on Coinbase, and they were asking me, like, what do you think is going to happen here? And I'm like, this thing's going to a penny. Like, there's no chance for this thing to continue and surge and surge and continue to surge, because that's not what the market is right now. What you have right now is you have a bunch of people who got in, who got a big profit right away. Then they took their profit along the way. Then we got the Fibonacci. You got your Fibonacci move right there. Played out perfect, went right down into your 618, went down into your golden zone, gave you the purchase power right there one more time. Then it gave you the move to the 236, which every time. Then it broke back down to the 0.45. Then it broke back up to the 382. And now it's slowly but surely breaking down. People are getting tired. It's going to a penny at some point. It's because human nature is what matters. Human nature says in this regard that people are afraid, and they're afraid of people like Wintermute. Then they see Jane Street. They're afraid of people like Jane Street because these are the largest market makers with the largest bags. However, step back one more time. What was Wintermute doing? And what does Jane Street do every day? They reaccumulate to buy more Bitcoin every single day. They create these elements so that they can create dips in the market so that they can scoop those dips back up so that they can continue to profit off of it. Nobody in their right mind thinks that the market is going to go down in the short term. The smart money right now is, by the way, the reason that I say this is because you can follow the wallets, right? The smart money right now, they're buying the shit out of Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin won't dip. They're buying
Yeah,
the
so
shit out of
Michael
everything.
Saylor got $2 billion worth. No, but don't
1.2 billion. Yeah,
but
1.2
don't
billion a
the
couple days ago.
smart money they buy from like the dark liquidity pools that don't necessarily affect a lot of the price, and that's how they're able to go in and get it.
Well, they do that, but that's not the point. The point is they buy at an average cost, and they're able to sell on the open market. So it's not like when we say that they're buying OTC. OTC desks will generally give you a 5% discount, maybe a 10% discount, something like that. Like there's an average discount that you might get for it, but they're not buying because they think it's going. Tom Lee is not for Bitmine is not buying. He's not buying hundreds of thousands of Ethereum every week because he thinks that it's going to go way down. Arthur Hayes is not continuing to accumulate Ethereum, Solana, and XRP because he thinks it's about to go way down. CZ is not accumulating Aster because he thinks that it's about to go into a bear market. Like, the smart money understands that we're not done yet. We're about to go ever higher. The dumb money that moved on, and this is where we have the disconnect and the problem, and why it's easy for them to create this narrative. The dumb money, you know where they went? Polymarket and Kalshi. They went to Polymarket and Kalshi because now instead of if I buy a SHIB token, or if I buy a Solana meme token or something like that, they're going to die. There was a report the other day, 13.4 million cryptocurrencies are now dead, effectively dead, with less trade volume than $1,000. 13.4 million cryptos. Those cryptos are just, they were no good to begin with. They were meme coins for the most part, stuff like that. There's some with utility mixed in, but generally just the gambling market. So the gambling market went to Polymarket and Kalshi. Why? Because they felt like, well, if there's anything I want to do, I can just go bet on it. Immediately, I can get rewarded immediately. I can lose my money immediately, but now I don't have to sit and hold my bag forever in the hopes that something good will happen, in the hopes that Ian Allison will walk on stage with a Terra Luna Classic shirt and double my price overnight. You know what I mean? Like, those kind of things that were happening before, or that happened before, they're not happening right now. But when they do, the money that used to be in the crypto is now in Polymarket and Kalshi. And the bigs, the institutions, they have to accommodate people like Jane Street. They have to accommodate people like Wintermute. They have to accommodate the market makers, because those market makers are the ones that provide, they're the liquidity providers, and they have to have liquidity in order to provide liquidity. And in order to do that, they need the market to be where it is right now. We have a thin liquidity pool everywhere. And then the other part to that is this is the biggest, this is the second, there's those guys out there. They're not the biggest reason for the liquidity crunch. This is right here. Gold is continuing to just absolutely blow up. And then when you take that out, silver is going higher too. I mean,
$100 an ounce. That's insane.
Right. I mean, if you just kind of zoom out here on a daily, I mean, silver looks like a meme coin.
Yeah, it did nothing for like 10 years. And then
from this pivot right here in April at $28, silver is now $103. And all this represents right now is a flight away from fiat. And because of the lack of clarity act, because of the lack of a clear guidance in the United States, people chose silver and gold and precious metals over cryptocurrency. But that won't last for much longer. All of this money right here, like, we're looking, if you were to tell me that silver was going to do this, then I would say, okay, then what I would expect to see is I would expect to see a move, a pivot, a move, a pivot, a move, a pivot, a move, and then it would be done. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different impulse moves. There's typically 5 impulse moves, but gold did the same thing, 7 impulse moves. And guess what that means? That means that this market rally is probably just about over. Now, how do I know that it's over? And that is right here.
Yeah, we're getting close, right? Getting close.
Exactly. The Clarity Act stalled. We had problems with it. We had issues and concerns. The new markup was just done today. Now, Congress is taking Monday off on account of they don't like being cold, and they're too rich to be cold, like us, weaker individuals. But the markup, the Agricultural Committee today put out the new markup on the Clarity Act.
What'd they say? I haven't read it.
They're going to go in, they're going to finish this thing off, and then they're going to get ready to vote for it. So here we are this close. So what's happening right now, silver money is getting ready to rotate. Gold money is getting ready to rotate. It's going to come into crypto. And by the way, it doesn't take a whole lot of that money to blow the roof off of cryptocurrency. And what will happen is you will see what you're seeing right here. You're going to see that with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen to Bitcoin. And it's going to happen to Bitcoin. Then it's going to happen at the same time with Ethereum. Then it's going to happen at the same time with Solana. Then it's going to happen at the same time with XRP. Then it's going to happen at the same time, most likely, but maybe not. I'm not sure, but it will also happen with Cardano around the same time. Those will be the locks for massive moves. It won't take much. Again, it will not take much. Then what you're going to see is you're going to see Bitcoin level off. You're going to see that 130, like I think it's 135,000 is the next level for Bitcoin. I think we'll pause. We'll have just a crazy rally when it's time, and then it'll kind of pop right about there, 135,000 roughly. I think that's going to be our next little top. And then you're going to see maybe, I'm not 100% sure on this one, but then you're going to see altcoin season. That's when you see Ethereum's not done, but Bitcoin seems to be done, but Ethereum's still moving. What's going on? And now you're going to see the rumblings of altcoin season. And what you'll see is you'll see more liquidity than you saw before. You'll see 13 million dead cryptos that we don't have to worry about anymore. We'll see money getting pulled out of those and moved in. People are just going to say, F it, I'm going for it. I'm going to put it into something else. And then you're going to see an absolute explosive move on altcoins. You're going to see an absolute explosive move on Bitcoin. You're going to see an absolute explosive move every single place. And it'll happen so quickly, you won't even know it. All you'll be hoping for is that it keeps happening the next day and the next day and the next day. And then it will be over. And then the long road home. And by the way, Bitcoin could still go to 150 to 170,000. It may not be done at 135,000. But that's the way that the market looks like structurally to me and to most people who are not 4-year maxi bro dummies, for lack of a better description. So you're talking about gold and silver rotating in. Yeah.
What about stocks? What about the trillions in money market accounts? What about the $2,000 checks that Trump will send? Like, is that all taken into account with it, or were you just counting gold and silver in this?
So that's just a way for people to have free capital. That's not the rotation. The rotation is not 100%.
Yeah.
If $1 trillion rotates out of gold and silver and comes into cryptocurrency through whatever means there is, then we go from a $3 trillion market cap to somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 trillion in market cap. Just that rotation. And there's that much money just sitting there ready to be moved around to make profit. The one thing to remember is all of these people, in order for gold to go up, demand has to go up. In order for demand to go up, there has to be new buyers stepping in. New buyers are continuing to step in. That's what's happening. New silver buyers are continuing to step in. Existing buyers are buying more. They're creating a price squeeze. They're going to do the same thing on Bitcoin. They're going to do the same thing on the major altcoins. That's going to cause what, by the way, I do think meme coins are going to die. I think this is the end of meme coins as we know them.
I hope so.
We're going to get this last sort of rally. Well, there's still going to be a gambling market. There will always be a gambling market, but the wildness of meme coins, I think, is dead. I don't think that we're going to see it in that context anymore. Most of the developers who are developing meme coins and running scams have moved on to Polymarket and Kalshi and taken their squads with them. When they come back, there won't be as much money going into their stuff as there was before. They won't have a place for it until they come up with utilities. And if you remember at the end of the last meme coin market, do you remember how the meta went from it's just the dog meme coin, we just want to be just like Doge with Shiv and stuff like that, to all of a sudden now we have a DEX. Now we have there was like 13 different they just wild different shit. Oh, a game. There was a game where you could earn crypto. Everybody had remember
yeah, I remember.
Everybody had a DEX, everybody had a game, everybody had like all these different what they called utilities. None of them generate money. They're just sinkholes that all these cryptos went to die. But for a short period of time, they looked good because we're not a meme coin. We're building with utility. And then everybody had their utility list and everybody started making that, you know? So there will still be those. And then you're going to have the meme coin will have that rally where all of a sudden there's going to be new utilities. And the new utility right now, predictive market.
Okay.
And that is the new utility right now.
Yeah. Use that in the predict. Okay. I see that.
And I don't know what the next one's going to be. You know what I mean? Remember when AI agents were, every meme coin had an AI agent all of a sudden, and they were all over Twitter. People, they run in cycles, like the scammers, these guys run in cycles, and they're going to need utility in order to do stuff. They're going to need to create their own blockchains. Nobody's going to use their fucking blockchains though. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different things here that lead me to believe that meme coins as we know it are dead, that it's just too obvious to ignore at this point.
Yeah. No, I've seen that. I also think I've seen people just kind of lose money. They have that buyer's exhaustion. Like nobody's really made any money in several years. So I feel like, why would you try your chance at a meme coin when you could go in and buy something that's backed by a business? Speaking of which,
well, even those are down 75 to 90%. So
yeah, true. Yeah.
that doesn't even work for you. Really what's working for people right now is finding a good utility project and scalping it. Not taking 100% or a 2x, but taking a 10% gain, and then just scalping your money and then waiting for a dip and then just playing the charts based on the way charts are meant to be played. Like that's where the money is right now.
So what would you say happens to the charts? And we could stick with Bitcoin on this or wherever you want. Yahoo Finance picked up a piece of news the other day where I think her name was Helen McCaw, who's a former Bank of England analyst. She's a senior Bank of England analyst, wrote to the new governor warning that President Trump will disclose the existence of aliens and why the Bank of England should prepare for a volatility spike and a lot of volatility into Bitcoin, because they would no longer trust the US dollar and they would no longer trust the US government. What do you make of that?
Nothing.
Why not?
Why would I?
Because aliens are cool. And then two, that I think there is some merit to that premise that, like, okay, the existence of aliens, yeah, you'd probably go into gold. You'd probably lose fiat. You'd probably go into something like Bitcoin, because like fiat is so messy and they could like print it, and then aliens exist. You'd probably want to go into the best tech that you have, which probably be Bitcoin, unless they come in with new tech.
So, I mean, I would just say this. Do I believe in aliens? Yeah, 100%. Do I believe that they're watching us? No. Why the fuck would they do that? That's stupid. Look at us. We believe, listen, we're a society that thinks that it knows what it's doing, that still believes that there is a ghost who gave birth to another ghost that also has another ghost. And if we follow these three ghosts, this Father, this Son, and this Holy Spirit, then we're going to have a magical something that happens, but not now, not now. Right now, you're going to suck. It's going to be awful. It's going to be horrible. Look, you're going to get cancer. You're going to get AIDS. You're going to get whatever you're going to get, you're going to get. But when you're done, you're going to go to a really awesome place. Now, wouldn't that be nice? And
that
then
would be nice.
you got people who are like, you know what? That actually would be pretty nice to be able to go to another place. All I have to do is just go through all of this pain and suffering and torture in order to do that. And I'm going to go to a place where nobody comes back from, but everybody goes to, and nobody seems to be telling us through some kind of mechanism how great or bad or whatever it is. Like, we fall for that. We fall for that.
I don't know, but my experiences on LSD make me think that there's something else. Like, either our consciousness gets stored in like some type of cloud, and I don't mean like cloud like cumulonimbus. I mean like how data is stored in the cloud. And I get it, as you ran on drugs, but fuck, if it's not, if it doesn't seem very real, that some type of otherworldly place you might go after death, or in some type of altered state of consciousness.
Well, let me do this.
I don't know.
Let me do this.
Yeah.
Do you believe in God?
Do
you believe
that there's a creator,
a higher power, a creator who created?
Yes, I definitely believe in a creator of all.
Even if you don't believe that it's God, like one religion would think, right?
Yeah, the creator. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the difference between you and me is that you believe in one more creator than me.
You don't believe in any creator.
Silly.
Is it?
That's silly to me. Here's what I could do. Okay. I think we did this before. I think I did this with you before, and it was very simple. Okay. If I were to take water and break it apart in the United States, it would be 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen.
Yeah.
If I did that in China, it would be 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. If I then went to India and did it, it would be 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. If I did it in Africa, 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. Now, let's do the same thing and let's apply it. Do we believe that Jesus is God? Well, in America, we do. Do they believe that in China? No. Can we replicate that in China? No, we can't, because they don't believe that in China. They believe in something totally different. And
Buddha.
This God over here says that God over there is the bad one. Okay. Now let's go to the next one and let's say, well, what? Then obviously the Indians, they must believe in Jesus. Oh, they don't? Well, they've got to believe in Buddha, don't they? Oh, wait, they don't? Oh, it's Vishnu. So when we get to this next country, they don't even believe the 2 things that the other ones that we were fighting with before were part of. Then we go to Africa, and guess what? Whole new set of deities. And by the way, their deities are set by country. Each one of their countries has different gods. And they're polytheistic in some of them and not monotheistic in some of them. And in order for Jesus to have come around, then we had to reject the Greek gods. We had to reject the Roman gods. We had to reject all of these things. And now what you have is you have hundreds upon hundreds of different gods. You believe in one, somebody else believes in a different one. Somebody else believes that one person believes that God is God. Another person believes that God is God, but also the Son of God is also God. Then we also have somebody who says, well, the prophet also speaks to God too. You know what I mean? Like he's going to give me 72 virgins. They all have their own little premise. They have their own little thing. And we haven't even gotten to Japan yet. Or Russia, who doesn't even believe in it. Like, they're like, what the fuck? That's insane. All of these people. But here's the thing. Water is still water. Rocks are still rock. Grass is still grass on all of these different places. The only thing that changes country to country is the belief systems, not the reality systems, not the scientific systems. So if I say that, then I believe that science. Now, here's what I can also believe. I can see I read a thing the other day, 187 examples of evolution in my lifetime. Okay.
I think we agree on like all of this. I think the one thing,
no example of divinity, no example of divinity. There's no evidence of divinity in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It is 100% an article of faith. Now, when I say that, please understand, so is science. Science is faith-based until it's fact-based. The difference between science and religion is that science can eventually prove something true. Religion eventually proves that you just got to keep waiting. That's the only difference.
I guess I wasn't clear when the creator, I didn't mean like a certain God. I meant like a creator. Some people might see as God. I think you, because you like science, probably can follow me on, I mean, not that you couldn't follow me on anything else, but I feel like this is where our thought process would mostly agree, is that we've seen people create games, Second Life, like any of these like metaverses, right? And they have simulations like in the military, for example, for like, hey, run a simulation on what would happen if we do this or we do X, Y, and Z. And obviously those simulations are very crude and rudimentary, but they exist. And at some point, we'll be able to create a simulation that's real enough. Like I've seen people that are wearing head goggles or whatever to try to play ping pong on a table that's not really there. They forget that the table's not really there. They go to lean on it and they fall through it because it's clearly not there. But the simulation is getting very real. And I think at some point we create a simulation where inside that simulation, they themselves start to run simulations. So either we are the first ones to do that ever, or we are in a simulation ourselves. So that's kind of where and again, it is all like, you can't prove it, it's just a belief thing. But I feel like that makes more sense than, because everything is like mathematically perfect. There's like
nothing
laws of physics.
Perfect. Nothing is
there's laws of physics.
Math is perfect.
Yeah,
but everything else is not.
But everything's based on math. I feel like that someone had to create.
No, the solution to everything is based on math.
Well, I mean, like is like the gravity. That's not really like a solution. That's just okay. The formula is, and that happens to make sense.
Right. The formula just explains how it exists for you to comprehend. Like for example, Abe just asked the question, is love science? And this guy's mad. He's probably holding a cross right now over his chest, trying to ward me off right now.
I think love is science. You could explain it.
Right. Is love science? Well, let's see. What do you get from love? You get
dopamine,
you get pleasure, right? You get pleasure. What is pleasure? Dopamine. So you get a better mood because you're in love, or you get an obsessive feeling if you're in love. And what is that? That's not dopamine. What is that? Oh yeah, it's serotonin. It is science. Holy shit. What about that sense of I gotta be with you? What about this? I gotta have you. I have to have you. What about that? That bonding. It's called bonding, right? What about that bonding? What is that? Oh yeah, that's called oxytocin, which is a peptide, which you can take every single day. Or what about that feeling like I can't live without you? That's called vasopressin. All of these are chemicals inside the body that create the feeling of love.
And I love that feeling. I love those chemicals. I love. I'm a romantic. Like
and we love them. Exactly. Yeah. We love them, but they are chemicals within our body that are created. And by the way, sometimes though they get triggered in places that you don't know. Like for example, you're eating a pizza and you're like, oh my God, I fucking love this pizza. I can't live without this pizza. Well, that's because it's releasing oxytocin in your body and you're feeling like you can't live without pizza, and it's giving you a dopamine burst. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is just awesome. I mean, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I love that stuff. But again, I feel like, I mean, we disagree. If we disagree, I feel like because everything is explained mathematically, like I feel like someone would have to like code that in, like it's just computer code and this is simulation.
Here's what I say to that. Our math,
I know gravity is different on Earth than it is on Mars and it is on Saturn. So
are you familiar with Einstein and theoretical physics?
A bit.
Okay, so Einstein is the smartest person that we've ever known. Einstein figured out things that we still are like proving. The problem is he couldn't solve certain parts of physics because they don't make sense. There's something that we still don't understand. So when you give to God, maybe God is that thing that we don't understand yet. Like, for example,
the Higgs boson.
Exactly. Maybe that something like that, like how do particles communicate with each other over these gigantic distances, and they react faster than we can even comprehend
Oh, the
with the
quantum
same
entanglement.
movements? Do what?
The quantum entanglement, like that's how they
Quantum
can.
entanglement, right?
Yeah.
We don't know how that works, and Einstein called it spooky mathematics. He called it spooky mathematics because there's no equation that answers for it, because with no idea. But if we have 90% of it, what is that 10% that we don't have? And then here's the other part to that. Once we solve that, once we understand that we know 90% and we need to solve that 10%, once we solve that 10%, it's going to lead to 100 more percent. And then we're only going to know 10% again, because there's going to be so much more that comes after that. I don't think that it's mystic. I don't think that it's spooky. I don't think the fact, look, again, the fact that we can break down every single thing in forever and explain it through science. And we can't do shit with religion other than say, well, you just got to believe, or you're going to go to that special place with all the red and yellow people. And if you do, and you're really, really good,
not the red and yellow people.
And if you're really, really good, you're going to go to the clouds up there. But also, listen, hey, if you kill somebody, if you murder your wife, if you pull an Epstein with a kid, if you whatever bad thing you do, just be sorry for it. Just be sorry for it. And you still get to go to heaven. It's okay. You're fine. It's cool. Religion is a mechanism for keeping people in line. It's for religion, in my opinion, religion was created to keep poor people from striving to usurp rich people back in the old days. And it was the consequence of being a bad person.
Eternal damnation.
Yeah, exactly. Those things. And when you get enough people to believe that, then you've created a system that you can now manipulate and control. There is no, by the way, for anybody who's wondering, Catholicism was invented on the island of Sicily. Guess what else came from Sicily?
Sicilian pizza.
The mafia. Now, the structure of the church, of the Catholic Church, and the mafia is the same. It's the same thing. It's all about control. It's all about keeping people in line. And by the way, the mafia, the difference between the mafia and the church is that the mafia provides you with protection. The church provides you with safety.
So I want to, before we go back to the alien thing and the Bitcoin, I do want to go back to the double slit experiment, where you said that you don't believe that some of this is spooky, where light photons change their behavior depending on whether you're looking at it or not. That is spooky.
Photons have a bigger, so photons just have a bigger spectrum than what we thought they had.
But but depending on whether you look at it or not, how does it know? How does it know?
When we're guessing, we assume certain things. Once we've observed them, they become a scientific fact. Then we can extrapolate data from that scientific fact. So if you have two slits and you have and you're shooting a photon laser right in the middle of it, why is it going through both slits? Why is it going through each slit? Why is it taking turns going through there? Well, that's the spooky science that we don't know about yet. That just means we haven't solved it yet.
Agreed. But it does it in the form of a wave if you don't look at it. But then if you do look at it, then suddenly it's a particle and not a wave. And it's like, we don't know why it switches back and forth. Only for me, that behaves like a computer where you look at a battle scene. You could just determine you could skip the battle scene, but if you look at it, it'll behave a different way and it'll show you how it does it. But that's why I get this. That's why I would be guessing
I would be guessing, but light, like sound, is on a spectrum. And because it's on a spectrum, that means that there's a variable. And because there's a variable, there's something that we don't completely comprehend or understand that we haven't reconciled with yet. Spooky mathematics. We haven't reconciled with how quantum entanglement happens. What is the signal that causes these two things to happen at the same moment, independent of one another, but happening together? Why is it happening like it's happening? How are we communicating? What is that method? What is that lower tier or that upper tier that we just can't yet figure out and we cannot yet see? We don't have the math for that. And by the way, we didn't have the math for any of this until we develop it over time. Remember, at one point, the Earth was the center of the universe. Then the sun was the center of the universe. And now we're just a particle. We're just a particle in a larger something. And by the way, when I was a kid, when I looked at what I saw, and by the way, I don't concern myself with beginning and end. The Big Bang Theory is called a theory. We don't know if that's true or not. We know that it looks like it was true, or it looked like it was true until about 3 years ago when we started to notice that, you know what, with this new telescope, we're now seeing that it's not moving exactly the way that we thought. So something about our equation in the Big Bang Theory is wrong, but we are seeing the universe expanding still. It's not contracting. We are seeing that it's expanding. We are seeing consistency with it, but we're not seeing it in the directions that we thought it was going. We don't see it moving the way that we thought. So there is something more to it. So the Big Bang Theory probably at some point gets disproven, not completely, but it gets altered and it becomes something a little bit differently. Most likely, in my estimation, we'll never figure out beginning and end first. We'll never figure that out. However, we could theorize and say that most likely that ultimate light is a white hole. The ultimate darkness is a black hole. And what we're seeing right now is the explosion of matter from another universe into our universe. And that's the Big Bang Theory. That's where everything exploded from one area to another area. And these areas open up and they just always have. Again, there's no explaining beginning and end because we don't have the science for it.
I like the, I forget what it was. It was the theory that, because matter can't be created or destroyed. Okay, well, what happens in a black hole? I like the theory that everything that's sucked into a black hole is like a big bang of like another universe. Go.
Yes, I would agree with that. Or it's a displacement of particles from one spot to another spot in a universe or a multiverse, somewhere like that. I absolutely would accept that one. Again, faith-based, not science-based. That's entirely faith-based for me to do that. But you know, I would venture that I could solve that equation a lot quicker than Son of God.
Yeah. Fair. We will get back to the stuff in a second. Cross-holding person here, same hormones as VeVe. My faith allows me to have faith in the greater good. Yeah, and honestly, like, because I don't know. Stephen Hawking was a plant. I don't know. I mean, I think it helps people. I think it can help people do good or be better when they otherwise wouldn't have, and I think that's what you want at the end of the day.
So, in order for here, let's very simply, let's break down. Let's take out the idolatry. Right, and that's what 3 of the 10 commandments. Or 4?
I'm not familiar with any of this, so
let's just take those out. Let's just take those out for 1 second and say, in order for a society to evolve and grow, in order for me to be an effective leader of a society, stop fucking killing people, stop stealing from each other, and don't fuck my friend's wife. Like, do we now have a society? It didn't take God.
Yeah.
It didn't take God. It just took me realizing, hey, we shouldn't kill people. We shouldn't steal from each other. And we shouldn't screw everybody. That's it. That was enough. You know what I mean? Like that's all it took. That's all it really took. And
really chill.
And religious people, they feel like, but guess what? We've been not killing people in a common society. We've been fighting other societies, but in a common society, we don't kill one another. The people who kill one another in that society, they're the outliers. They're the bad guys. We get rid of the bad guys. Same thing for people who steal. Same thing for people who cheat. We do the same thing. And we did it before there was a Bible. We did it. But I mean, we did all this stuff because we didn't have to have a God scaring us. Okay. We did it because it's the right thing to evolve as a species. And by the way, religion goes along with that. I think the evolution of humans is kind of based on that too.
Yeah. Humans, I feel like, don't do that well at coexistence. But when they face like a greater threat, then suddenly they're like they can work together better than anything else on the planet.
Yeah, I think individually maybe we're not, but people are sheep. Person is a lion, but people are sheep. We all want to follow. We all just want to be part of, we all just want to be part of the stream, that conscious stream. We all want the great things to happen. We all want to see everybody succeed, except the people we don't like. We all want these good things. Just, and the way that we reinforce that is with religion. It's go to church on Sunday. I mean, go. And by the way, I'm not against church. You should go to church. You should go to church every Sunday, and you should meet people who are like-minded, like you, who believe the same bullshit that you believe. Like, you should go see those people. If you like science, you should go to a symposium. You should go, if you like astrophysics, go listen to somebody talk about astrophysics with other people who are into astrophysics. Go meet common people with common ground and stuff like that. Like, you should be out talking to other people, but it doesn't take religion for me to do that.
Agreed. Let's bring it back to the, how I want to follow you is going over some TA and some crypto. We'll start off with DEFINITY.
All right.
And then we'll make our way to the other stuff. Because I love the DEFINITY.
Here we go. I'm not out on DEFINITY, by the way, for anybody who's wondering. That's my religion. DEFINITY is now my religion.
Manu is my God.
Yeah. So I think that short term, DEFINITY had a little mistake, but I don't even want to call it mistake because I don't think it really is. Here's what happened. They crafted this announcement. This announcement explained that Bloomsbury Money is partnering with the Midnight Foundation and that they're going to be the financial services provider for Midnight Network. Midnight Network is created by Charles Hoskinson. I don't know if it's going to be part of the Cardano ecosystem, but it's a privacy-based thing, and he's passionate about it. He's the lead programmer on it. This is a fantastic move for DEFINITY. Here's the problem. In that announcement, there is not a hashtag DEFX. There is not a mention of DEFINITY. No matter where you go, no matter how you look, you will not see anything that tells you anything about DEFINITY. You just see Bloomsbury Money. So in my mind, that was a misstep, and it could have been a misstep because they had to make it a misstep. It could have been that the Midnight Foundation said, no, we don't want to talk about your crypto. If your crypto's part of it, it'll be discovered in good time. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know that it's a misstep from them. It's just a misstep from people who are short-term holders who were looking for a pump out of it. No. Now, the good part is it's part of the Midnight Foundation, okay? That means that it automatically has an astronomical amount of value that hasn't been discovered yet. And let me explain why. I'm going to keep this as simple as I possibly can. DEFINITY has a $2.5 million market cap. Midnight blockchain has a $942 million market cap. Now, at one point, it had a $2 billion market cap. So at least let's recognize this is a $1 to $2 billion market cap project that we're partnered with, and we have a $2.5 million market cap. Okay.
Does the Fibonacci thing work on this one? Because this looks like a pretty similar chart than what you had to use the Fibonacci one on before.
Yeah. So, I mean, normally you would say that, yes, it does, except it really already played out. Like if you look at it right here to here, you can see it played out originally, then it came back down, went below 786, came all the way back up to the 236 after breaking down. Because if you notice here, it went all the way up and then it corrected on that same day. Then it came down. Then it popped back up to the 236. Then it broke all the way down. Then it came back to the 4.5. Then it came back down for another test. Then it broke out to an all-time high. Then we're in correction mode. Okay, this was where you got your double top on a brand new project. So you don't have a whole lot of people. You don't have millions of people like on Bitcoin holding a floor. You've got some people holding a floor here. So what you're going to see on this most likely is depending on the market, okay? Depending on the market. But if we zoom out and we look at it from this context and we look at just a full breakout right there, you could say that that's maybe a completed move. And that now that we're in this 786 range, we're going to get a nice spike. Problem is, when you look at the spike right there, we already got that move to the 618 and then it broke back down. So that's not looking bullish right now. There's going to be a need for reversal. And I don't know enough about midnight to know when a big reversal is going to come in. The thing about Charles Hoskinson is he takes a long time to do shit. You know what I mean? So
I heard the couple bear markets go Cardellino. You know, I heard the names.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Cardano has a market cap of $13 billion. So we're looking at two projects from the same guy with $15 billion in market cap. Now, let's take those into consideration and go back to DEFINITY. What's the market cap, or what's the feeling of, like, what's the level of market cap that you would think of if you have 13 billion on one, 1 billion on the other? Let's call it 14 billion right now. And you have a $2.5 million market cap. It seems safe to say to me that it's worth $100 million market cap, maybe a $50 million market cap. It's worth far more than what it's doing right now, just based on this partnership. Okay. The fact that it hasn't been discovered by Cardano, the fact that it hasn't been discovered by Midnight, doesn't mean that it won't be. At some point, either me or Randy or somebody the right person's going to hear us talking about it, and they're going to be like, oh shit. And then you're going to start to see money flowing into this. Then when you do your research on DEFINITY and you figure out how much money is being generated by this company, despite the fact it has a $2.5 million market cap, when you find out how financially solvent they actually are based on all these circumstances, it is only a matter of time before DEFINITY absolutely breaks out. And look, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I don't know that 100x is on the table because that would be what, 250 million market cap?
Yeah.
I don't know that that's on the table, but a 10 to 20x going to 25 to 50 million market cap, or a 40x taking it up to $100,000 market cap or $100 million market cap, that doesn't even seem like it's untoward. It doesn't even seem like it's aggressive.
Yeah, no, that's probably where it should be, to be honest.
Right. No. Right. So
the
question now is discovery. It's discovery. Like when do you get discovered? And now you have a partnership whereby people with money, $14 billion, are going to discover you at some point. So I think DEFINITY is an absolute gem right now that's just undiscovered. And when it gets discovered, like, you're going to go to sleep. You're going to go to sleep one night and DEFINITY is going to be 1 or 2 cents, and you're going to wake up and it's going to be 10 cents. Like, people are just going to find it and be like, oh shit, wait a minute. This is the Midnight Foundation, and it's the privacy, and it's Charles shit. And they're going to be buying. You know what I mean? And you're just going to wake up one morning, and then you're going to go to bed. It's going to be 25 cents the next day. I don't know if it goes beyond that, but like it's Just seems to me that it's incredibly undervalued right where it is right now. Based on, by the way, it's not generating money through Midnight Foundation yet. So there will be a moment when that starts to happen. And when that starts, when you get more information about that, by the way, because there has to be a white paper, there has to be some development of what's going on there. When that happens, guess what they're going to announce? Most likely that DEFX is going to be the gas that runs what they're doing, or it's going to give you the discount.
Yeah, probably the discount more than anything.
Or it's going to give you the discount.
Yeah.
That's going to create value. And it's only a matter of whenever that announcement comes that it's going to absolutely send.
Okay, the creator of one of the most popular blockchains in the world is Joe. This guy's a hater, bro. This guy's a hater.
Honda's been in the game for a while, though. He understands. I mean, and you know, look, Charles Hoskinson is a wild man. He's an absolute wild man. I don't agree with him fundamentally on a lot of different things, but he is a pure libertarian. I mean, the guy lives in the fucking woods. I mean, for real. The guy lives in the woods and has $14-15 billion worth of cryptos under him that we even know about. So he's an insane man, but he also knows what he's doing. So, you know, let him cook, give him a chance, and I think we're going to see DEFINITY go absolutely nuts.
Let him cook. Yeah, I freaking love those memes. So that is on the DEFINITY. We appreciate that. DEFINITY between the shares that I own the company versus and the token. That is my biggest bag by an insane multiple by far anywhere else. So just full disclosure for everyone listening, that is partially why I like it. I mean, I like it because the fundamentals and everything is behind it, but that's also why I speak really good of it as well. Another thing, DEVVE, that we are both in. Oh, we also got a super chat from the Mike Jones saying, good show, guys. Mike Jones says DEVVE is going to about 9 cents. He has made the declaration that he is always correct. I'm unsure if he has been 100% correct about everything in the future, or in the past, but now he's telling us 9 cents for DEVVE. That is where he will. That's what he's calling. I don't know if he has much now, but that is what he will get it. Thank you, Thea49, and you love the show. What do your L5 see, like, Alas?
I mean, it's hard to argue with that. So I like everybody associated with Dev, but they've made a lot of not necessarily missteps. They just, from crypto, for a cryptocurrency, they have made catastrophic error after catastrophic error. From a business standpoint, they haven't done anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's difficult because Dev is something different. It's a cryptocurrency, but they're not building as a crypto company. They're building as a Web2 company, because in order for them to attract people into Web3, that's who they have to be.
Yeah. So
for them to go out and advertise and to tell you, all of these things, whatever you want to hear, whatever the thing is that you think, whatever marketing you think they should be doing, I agree. But with what money? Because let me just give you an example. They were paying me $2,000 a month. Now, I never sold my Dev. I still hold it. But they were paying me $2,000 a month. If I were cashing that out, I would be taking $2,000 from the liquidity pool every month. Now, imagine if there were 5 of me. There were 5 of me. That would be $10,000 coming out of the Dev liquidity pool every single month. Okay, just as an example. And by the way, I'm not saying that I'm worth it or not worth it. Okay, I'm just saying that that's what would be happening. And there's $382,000 in liquidity currently in Dev right now. At its top, I think it was somewhere near $1 million, something like that. You have 36 months. You have 36 months of people like me before it's worth 0. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So they have no marketing budget. I did reach out to Phil. I'll tell you guys, by the way, I reached out to Phil. I told Phil, I said, dude, you're a moron if you don't have me on your team, because I'm like the one guy that talks about you constantly out here on socials. Ray feels like, and this is from Phil to me regarding Ray. Okay. So I can't say that it's true. I'm just saying that this is what Phil told me. And I don't think Phil be mad at me for telling you. Ray thinks that if he does that if he gave me $2,000 a month, that he's actually giving me $100,000 a month. Okay. He thinks that they are like this close to bye-bye. He thinks that they are right there at the finish line. Like he thinks that, and by the way, not the finish line, the starting line of who they're going to be. Like that announcement of that they're partnered with, I guess we're not supposed to say. When the name comes out, I think it's going to be a weird name that people don't immediately recognize, by the way. So, I'm not sure exactly how that, I don't know how that announcement plays. You know what I mean? But once the announcement is made, there's going to be a lot of people that want to be involved with DEVVE. There's going to be a lot of people that want to be involved in what's going on. So the value here is going to go astronomically higher. Again, on Definity, I'm saying $25 to $100 million feels right in this regard. But for DEVVE feels right at about $5 billion. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a different thing. So Penguin says, so it's not NASDAQ.
I have no idea.
It's NASDAQ. I mean, it's
evidence seems to point that way, but I mean, until they come out and say it, there's nothing that we can confirm or
right. I mean, none of us can say, okay. None of us can say. Some people are under NDAs and they won't say. Some people are not under NDAs and they have no idea. So I'm saying that all of the people. Okay, so Roy G, what the leaker said was very, very specific. And I'm going to respect the leakers. And I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to tell you exactly what they said. But like what I say is this. When the announcement is made, when you see who the partner is, it's NASDAQ. But you might be looking at it and being like, who is that? Because it's a division. Or at least that's what I think. That's about all I can say.
That is, I feel like that leaves us a bunch more questions than answers, but we will leave it at that because.
And you're going to have the. I'm not on the team. I mean, yeah. The fact that I get this information doesn't mean that I'm going to be irresponsible enough to share it with everybody. It should be suffice. It should be to say that if you trust me or if you believe in me, I believe in the dev team, and I believe that what I heard is real and legitimate, and I have no doubt in my mind that NASDAQ is the partner. That's all I can say to that.
I will go a different route, and I'll say I believe in the team as well. I believe in Tom as almost as much as anyone can, as someone that, again, these companies, Fias, DEVVE, like they're his babies. And as someone that's built companies myself, I'd do anything for them. And I believe Tom would as well. One of the other things I wanted to point out, and I promise there's a point here, is that there was a prompt recently that people were sharing on Twitter, and the prompt says, talking to ChatGPT, create an image of how I treated you previously and write down one sentence explaining that image. And a lot of people that did that, the AI felt like it was like distraught. It was nervous. It was like having nervous breakdowns. Like when I did it, it felt like completely like it was on a vacation. It was at a spa. It was conversing with a friend. I won't share what Tom's photo is because he did it too recently, but it's I mean, I should just share it. It treats him like an equal. Like the ChatGPT shows Tom as an equal, and they're working on incredible stuff. And like, there's very few other, I'll just show it again this way, it's a little bit bigger. There's very few other people's reactions that were even just positive. Mine, my ex-girlfriend, and Tom, but this is the only one I've seen where it's like, again, mine, it feels cozy because I thank it and we talk about whatever, I'm nice to it. But the fact that it represents him as like an equal.
What was the
like
prompt?
Tom is insanely smart.
What was the prompt?
Is exactly what I said. Is the prompt is create an image of how I treated you previously and write down a sentence explaining the image. So, are you going to do it on your ChatGPT? I'm so curious to see what it looks like. Anything's possible if you believe.
Here we go.
What did Meow say? Yeah, let us know what that says. That might take a minute.
I'm sharing it.
Okay. Oh, shit.
I'll make this a little poetic. A cozy scene of a small glowing AI-shaped figure sitting at a cafe table, slightly scuffed but smiling, while a human across from it slides over a coffee cup. I don't get a picture.
Create an image. I think it takes a minute for the image to generate. It says generate. It's like, can you show me the picture? I guess that's what I would.
Let's do this. Let's do it with Grok.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. By the way, Grok might be down.
Why is Grok down?
Because Elon is doing everything right, 100%.
Damn it, Grok.
Yeah.
Damn it,
let me try the main. Grok's still on server issues. Yeah, so it's not working right now. Oh well.
I would say for ChatGPT, usually it you could just say like, hey, can you create this image? I don't know why I gave you text. That was strange. Anyway, all right, so did the Infinity, we did the DEVVE, we did the can you take a look at OMI for me real quick?
Yeah. Let's pop.
Yeah. Good. All right, here we go.
All right, now. All right, so I think the last time we talked, I said, it was going to go down to the bottom level here.
Yeah, broke through that bottom level.
It did, yeah. It also retested it once yesterday. You can see that right there.
Yeah.
I think it's breaking back up towards it. So if I'm looking at OMI, then I would be looking at this break in here and then a move up here. Like that would be.
Is it possible that it goes back down to the 101 level that it was at?
Oh sure, oh sure. Yeah. I mean, like your floor right now is now right there. So that's basically 1 cent. You zoom out, you don't really have a lot of old stuff to go on. So, you got that strong dump right there going into October. You got the breakdown, the winter mute, everything. But you have this range right here at 2 cents. And this sort of like volume node right there. Plus you have that sort of trade volume here. If I pop up a volume profile, let's see if I can do that with, let me just do this with maybe, where is it traded? Where is OMI traded? Kraken? Yeah, Kraken.
Yeah, there's not a lot of volume on Kraken.
That's all right.
Okay.
I don't need the volume. I just need the,
oh yeah. Also, it's also very new on Kraken.
Oh, it's very new. Yeah.
Last month.
Yeah. What's an
So
older exchange?
I mean, Bit4X was where it was traded like years ago, but there's no OKX, ThingX.
Oh yeah, much longer. Here we go. All right. So yeah, that's going to give us a good one right there. So we look at it from a volume profile standpoint, and we want to see, like, we're always attracted to volume, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the volume right there. So we're under the volume node. The most likely scenario is there's 1, 2, like 3 or 4 sort of places here that we should be looking at for moves, right? To here, which is, if you notice, that's just a gigantic volume node right there. That's where most of the trade volume is. Then you have this spot right here. Then you have this spot right here. Then you have this little spot right up here. Then you have a little outcropping right there at about 4.3 cents. I mean, those are the spots right there where, by all rights, you should be attracted to. So remove the volume profile. You're below your major volume node. So the most likely scenario for you to play this out is use a Fibonacci from the bottom up to the top of that range. You're at your 786 right now. The most likely scenario for you to play out to is, by the way, you've done the things that you need to do. By the way, you've done the full move, then you had the breakdown, then you have the move back to 236, then you had the breakdown even further, which came down into that 786. Now you should see a move to the 4.5. That 4.5 is going to be like right above your range here, so you probably get a spike. You get one of those little wicks right there, that big candle. Coming up into maybe 382 or something like that. Maybe get a breakdown here. What you want is you want a higher low, you want a higher low, you want a higher low, and then boom, now you've got a chance to sort of break out from there. But again, everything is dependent on what does OMI provide. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to get out of OMI? Like I said before, I can't read comic books on this device. They're just not made for it. The eyes, the visual, it's not maximized. Maybe on a tablet, and tablets are popular. Actually, if I were to, let me see here.
How do I look?
Horny. I just sent it to you. On my computer, on my monitor, on the left, probably perfect for reading comic books.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you go. Okay, yeah.
Because I have mine set up in portrait mode. I have both of these should be set up in portrait mode because I have another. The one in front of me right now is a TV. Okay, so that's just a TV monitor. But I have another computer monitor that usually sat in the middle. I just moved it so that I had room for the mic and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But from that angle, you can see what I'm talking about. Like, I could read a comic book from that.
Yeah.
But most people don't have their computers set up that way.
Yeah. Most people just do it on their phone.
So,
I mean, I do read comics on my phone, and it's not the greatest. It's just like it's the only way to do it. So
here's what I think. I think what OMI should be doing is, as they're creating these new comics, as they're bringing them in, as they're, I mean, is every comic now just native to OMI at this point? Or
so what they do is every Wednesday, like they'll have their legacy comics that come out, like the key issue comics from like 30, 50, however many years ago. And that comes out, and that's fine. People buy those. But the newer comics, they are released every Wednesday at 3 a.m. So it's like 7 hours before you can get them in the market.
Yeah, distributed.
And then you can buy them on the VeVe Comics website with a credit card. So there's no real crypto in there. You can sell it for crypto on Stacker. You can sell it on the VeVe app for gems. 1 gem is equal to $1, but you can't cash that out anymore. You could just use that to buy other stuff on VeVe.
Here's what I wish they would do. I wish when they import those comic books, they made them appropriate for phones. They should use
comic reader just didn't
they
do
should
well.
use an AI that captures once you've captured the whole thing, so that the best possible display for each panel is rendered on your phone. And every once in a while, if you get one of those big splash pages, it just renders as a splash page. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
But it recognizes that, and it makes the words a little bit bigger, and then you can tap the words and then see the image afterwards, and the words will maybe disappear or something like that, so that you can take in the artwork, something like that. But they should really have an AI by this point that makes it easier to read comic books on your phone.
So they did have something like that on they had a separate app for it. It was like just called like the comic book reader app.
Yeah.
And it was, it went in by panel and it zoomed for you.
That wasn't their native app though. That was an app that existed already, and it sucked. Like,
no, they did create their own, and it was okay.
They created their own based on the same one. Like that was the one that worked, and like it just wasn't that good. Like it's missing something. Yeah. And if they maybe just use some AI, they just figured out some way to make that happen, then people like really what you want to do is you want a mass migration. You want a mass migration away from people who are reading comic books to stop buying them there and start buying them here.
Yeah.
In order to do that, has to be better.
There's been a couple issues that they've been going through. One is that a lot of people that buy, like, I feel like me and like maybe 4 other people, and there's hundreds of people that buy these comics, but there's only a few of us that actually read them. A lot of people, they just buy them and they see it as an asset, which it is. And they just like, I'm just going to hodl it until the bull market comes back. And then they, go to sell. So, but that's with a lot of their stuff. So the big thing I think what gets people, or what should be able to get people, is that first appearance of Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Mickey Mouse on the blockchain. And, you take photos of them in AR. Some of them are animated and have sound. But really what would get a lot of people into the app is just if they could make money again, if the token goes stonks, and then people use the token to buy these assets, and then, it goes insane. So that's, didn't we do DEVVE? Yeah. Yeah. All right.
We didn't do any TA on it. I mean, Honda 9 cents is as good as 14 cents at this point. I mean, really, it's the question at this point is not, the question for Dev is very simple. It doesn't matter where the price goes. It's just when they make that announcement. And, I mean, you hear Ray talk about it. 30 days ago, he said between 30 and 90 days. We've already had 30 days, so it's not 30.
I figured it'd be 90 plus.
Right. So, they're just, and Ray's the salesman guy. Tom's the pragmatic realist. And when you're listening to these guys, you're getting, you read what Tom wrote in Telegram and you're like, oh shit. Like, you're scared. You watch Ray on TV and you're excited. You're like, oh my God. Like, it is almost here. So, it's just there's just dual purposes there. And by the way, Tom is not a crypto bro. He's in crypto. He's in the space, but he's not a crypto bro. Ray doesn't even have a Telegram. He is definitely not a crypto bro. So, like these guys are businessmen, and they're in the middle of a business, and it's not going as fast as they want it to go, or as robust as they want it to be, but it doesn't change that it's happening. It's a time frame. So,
and again, I told you, I just got off the phone with Tom. I'm very bullish about where it goes. I'm very I don't know a time frame, and obviously crypto takes on a life of its own. Stuff could go down or up even without the team announcing anything. It could just do whatever. But
Penguin, short of some kind of crazy, I mean, if out of nowhere Solana partners with the U.S. government, Solana's going to rip. If somebody makes a big partnership with somebody somewhere, they're going to rip. But the structure of the market hasn't changed. Number one, Bitcoin has to eat first, and then the big alts, and then we'll start to see other altcoins. And then again, I think we're going to see the final meme coin blow off. The meme coins, by the way, that are in the billions right now, the meme coins that are in the hundreds of millions, they might survive for a longer period of time because like was it Pengu?
Yeah. Well, Pengu, well, they have the legit business behind
They've
it.
got, they've got a legit business. Like they've got a real business. Shiba Inu allegedly has a real business, but I don't see anybody on Shibarium doing anything.
I don't either.
You know, I don't think that that's real. Dogecoin certainly is not, but I think Elon will do enough messing around with it and make it a payment option on the X platform so that potentially it has some upside. Trump meme coin, I think that he'll be forced to do something with the Trump meme coin to make it matter. I think it'll be the first one to 100 billion market cap, you know, those kind of things. But other than that, I think meme coins are going to die pretty soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope, again, only the one with real businesses go on there. Anything else you want to go and talk about a bit before we talk off camera?
Nah.
All right. Everyone, thank you all for joining. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. I love you all.